Hi, welcome to week 5 in the split pouch sew along. I'm Carolyn, and I'm really glad you're here to join me. If you followed along through this entire sew along, thank you so much for joining in. If this is your first time joining in, thanks. There are 3 other videos that you can check out, so you can catch back up anytime, follow along at your own pace, and make some cool pouches. This week I am going to share with you the 2 new pouches that I've made. I've done a couple of different things this time, so I'll talk to you about that. And yeah, just give you some final thoughts and encouraging words and just some gratitude for joining in with me. This has been a lot of fun. All right, let's start with the first pouch I made this week. So this is the first pouch that I made this week, and well, I guess I should say before making any pouches, I took a look at my list that I made in the first week of people that I wanted to make pouches for. And so I really honed in on a couple of people that I hadn't made pouches for, that I really wanted to. So those are the 2 pouches that I made this week are with those specific people in mind. Really helped guide my choices. This is the first pouch that I made, and it all started with, actually, in addition to the list of kind of people I wanted to make pouches for, I also made a list of different techniques and things that I wanted to try. And so one of the things on that list was working with quilted fabric that just has batting in it. I've done pouches with soft and stable. I've done pouches that use a woven fusible interfacing, Pellon SF101, and I've also played around with waxed canvas and vinyl. But one thing that I hadn't tried yet was putting together a pouch made with quilted fabric that's quilted with batting in between. And so I actually had this, it was already quilted. This was a scrap from a couch that I made. So right here. So several years ago, I quilted up quilts and then I sewed them together into my couch. I actually saved the remnants of that. I had some pretty sizable pieces that I thought might come in handy for a project later. I don't know if you save things like that, but I do. It's kind of one of those things that you end up having a lot of different things on hand, different leftovers, but then when you have the right project for them, it totally justifies saving those odds and ends. So anyway, I had this long strip of quilted fabric. So I had an exterior fabric, which is quilting cotton. I had a thin layer of batting, cotton batting on the inside, and then I had another layer of fabric on the backing. So I had this strip of fabric. I have moved it around my studio many times. I don't have a great place for it, but I looked at it this week and I was like, oh, okay, this will be perfect. I can use this for a pouch. And as I pulled it out, I realized that it was left over from the couch. So it's been several years ago that I made it. And it was just fun to realize that I was finally going to put it to use. So I used that quilt as my exterior. And then on the inside, I used this hand-printed fabric by Valerie Wells. So this is something she had kind of a sample sale or a sale of some of her different prints out in Sisters one year, and I picked up some of them. And so I used one here on the inside, and I just like kind of the colors seem to work well. I like that it adds a little bit more, I don't know, the print has personality since it's hand-printed. It feels very connected to it being handmade. There's a hand of an artist here in Val's work. And I just liked the contrast of the white with the light blue and then the quilted fabric on the outside. I also included a label in this one. It says "You are loved." I put it on the inside. And yeah, I really do like the structure that the quilted fabric gives. It's still really soft, which I also like, but the quilted fabric does give it some good structure. It stays open nicely. When I close it, it looks nice and full. Overall, it's a pretty good composition, so I would definitely go for this sort of approach in the future. My next pouch is this one. So it also started with, having a recipient in mind, but then I also took a look at my list. Well, I should say I had the recipient in mind, so I picked out this fabric thinking that that was appropriate. And then I'd cut out my pieces, and I was just kind of like reviewing my list of techniques and things that I wanted to try. And there was one item on there, which is embellishing or embroidering, using embroidery on the fabric, that I had just jotted down as something to try, and I hadn't tried it yet on any of my pouches. So I realized that like this pouch would be a good opportunity to do that. So this is after I got my pieces cut out, before assembling them, and I traced out the template shape onto my exterior fabric, and so that helped me know what was going to be cut away and then what would be in the final pouch. I didn't want to go and embroider pieces that I was later going to cut away. And so then I took my fabric, I did add this one has interfacing, fusible woven interfacing, Pellon SF101. So I went ahead and put the fusible interfacing on it, and then I embroidered. And I didn't have a grand plan for what I wanted to do. I just pulled some very cool threads. Actually, I can pull these here. These are some threads that I picked up at Snuggly Monkey the last time I was there, and they're just beautiful. I think this is cotton sashiko thread. I'm not entirely sure. Actually, it's probably a little finer than that. But anyway, it's beautiful thread. I've got Aurifil 12 weight cotton, and then I also have this sashiko thread by Cosmo. And I just liked these colors. I thought it worked nicely with the fabric. And then you'll also, if you're going to be doing embroidery, you'll also need an embroidery needle. So I pulled that. So I pulled my thread palette, and then I got my fabric, and I just started stitching along with some of the printed flowers. So I started here, and I outlined, and then I add some texture in there. I changed my thread colors and outlined other sections. I also added some French knots, which just, adds a lot of texture, can add some color. And then I decided I wanted to have a little bit more embroidery on the other side of the pouch, so I went in and did a little bit over here. Yeah, I think it's really cute, and it kind of brings this fabric, this print to life. So if you want to try embroidery, I think starting with a fabric like this is a great place to start, because you can just kind of follow along with the fabric. You don't have to come up with your own design. You can just kind of play around with what's already there. Or, of course, if you have ideas want to sketch out some ideas, you can do that too. You can come up with your own design. You could do a name. You could do, you could do anything. You could really run with this idea. So anyway, this was my outside. I really like how it turned out. I think that the texture is really pretty. I think that it elevates the pouch quite a bit to have just that little bit of embroidery or handwork. This honestly didn't take me too long, maybe half an hour or less. And you can do as little or as much as you want. Then on the inside, I have yellow fabric that's from Collection CF. I added this handmade label, I think it's cute and fun, and yeah. These are my 2 pouches for the week. I'm really excited. I have just such a good collection of pouches as we go into this holiday season. I also just have realized how nice it is to have a few extra pouches on hand for when, you're meeting up with a friend, or you're going somewhere that you're going to be seeing someone that you just want to give them a little something. It's nice to have something like this on hand. So it's been nice over these last few weeks to plug away on making a few each week so that I have a good group to draw on. It's also just been so inspiring to see the projects that you're making, and to also just share in the fun of making something, and making something as fun as a pouch. These don't take that long to make, and there's something like very satisfying about being able to whip one out in not too much time, and then also in personalizing it and thinking about who you're going to give it to, or how you're going to, or how, in thinking about who you're going to give it to or how you're going to use it. I've also enjoyed seeing your projects and then see who you are making your projects for, how you're using them, how you plan to use them. It's been really inspiring. So thank you so much for joining in. Let me know what you think about the sew along. Let me know what you think about the pouch. Let me know if you have any questions or other comments. You can leave those down below. You can also see in the description links to all of the stuff that I've mentioned, the threads, I'll link to those, and the pattern and all of that good stuff. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again soon.